So welcome everyone. We're glad that you're with us for our first webinar in a series of webinars with the theme, as you see noted here, how to grow your business successfully. And I'm joined by Leanne, who will introduce in a moment. And today our theme is going to be how a cloud accounting system is key. So that's going to be our focus. It's a foundation. And so we have a couple of housekeeping items that we'd like to share with you. So we look forward to your questions. As you mentioned, that we're going to be answering questions live periodically throughout the program. So if you'd like to post your questions in the Q&A panel, and then if there's any other comments or suggestions that you'd like to share, feel free to put these comments in the chat box. And if you can adjust your chat box to be set to all attendees and panelists, then everyone will be able to benefit from your comments. So those are a couple of brief helpful tips for us to get underway. So let's begin our webinar. I'm happy to be joined today by Leanne Ballard. Both of our firms have the same type of mindset of how we want to help small business owners grow a more successful and more profitable business. So we're going to introduce each of our firms, what we do, how we help, so you can get to know us a little bit better. So to get the ball rolling, I'll start. So I'm David Pankwich. You may know me already. I'm a chartered accountant, and I've been working for the last 25 years helping businesses in a variety of industries and a variety of sizes grow a more profitable and successful business. And what we really focus on is our mission statement, which we'll show you. So this is what we're all about. This is why we're in business, to help small business owners. This is why we're having these webinars, is we want to help Canadian hardworking small business owners be able to have a more successful and more profitable business. So often there's challenges to do that. So that's what our mission is, to help business owners with these challenges, so that no doubt your outcome that you're looking for is to have more time and money to spend for yourself and your family. So that's what we're all about. And that's why we formed our firm in the first place. And to help with that, we just recently developed an ebook that at the end of the webinar will let you know how you can get your own copy. It really goes through some of the foundations in the order that we suggest you follow, so that you can fast track the growth and development of your own business. So we'll mention after a webinar how you can get yourself a copy of that and start reading and start applying in your own business. So now, we'd like to introduce Leanne. So Leanne, would you like to introduce your firm?
Yes, thank you so much, David. So 100% agree with David and everything he says. To work with another firm that is so like-minded and has the same values and integrity is really, really important to us, because it allows us to make sure we can offer the full range to our clients. A little bit about us. We are a woman-led team of 3. We all have varied backgrounds, but we've come together to provide that well-rounded service for our clients. Our 3 team members, just to give you a little bit about each of us, Tanya is our owner and founder. She specializes in year-ends diagnostics, the more complex issues, business consulting, problem solving, and does most of the work behind the scenes. Myself, my specialties include client services, sales and marketing, internal workflows, and I work with our newer clients and get them onboarded, as well as working with like a training program for small businesses in order to do their own bookkeeping. Finally, we have Sandra. Sandra specializes in client services, accounts receivable, GST, HST, and payroll. And you'll get to meet Sandra throughout these calls, as she is working behind the scenes, helping with some question and answers. Thank you, David.
Very nice. Thank you, Leanne. And so as Sandra mentioned, and as Leanne mentioned, because we have such a same focus in wanting to help business owners, Leanne's team and our team, we formed a strategic partnership. So we really work with the small business owners in a seamless way, our two firms together. And we feel that this provides an excellent solution to us small business owners. So why are we having these webinars in the first place? So we'd like to share a concept with you, and that's starting a business and growing a business really is a journey. Doesn't happen overnight, does it? And so there's a sequence, there's a path, there's a series of steps that, if they're done in the right sequence, help you reach your goal. And so we see it really consisting of three main pieces. First, a destination, a map. What's the path to get to that destination? And then a guide. Is there someone experienced that can help coach, mentor you, work with you as a sounding board as you work along your journey? So we see business like that. And so in your own business, you likely have thought of your destination. Why did you start your business in the first place? You must have had a reason. It likely involved a vision you had for you and your family. The question is, how will you get to that destination? It's not always easy, particularly if you're trying to figure it out on your own. And so at our firm, we've developed a map, a clear guide, a path of steps to follow. And then our two firms together, we form this guide role. So we're experienced individuals, professionals in the world of accounting to help you along this journey, to help consult with you, to help you reach your goal. So that's why these webinars were developed. We found that in a virtual way, it'd be helpful to help businesses right across the country benefit from cloud technology, and then the next steps to grow a successful business. So today we're going to focus on cloud accounting, and three main areas we're going to briefly touch on is how a system that's in the cloud can help you with business decisions. Secondly, how can it help you overcome business challenges that you have? And then Leanne is going to discuss on the right team of accounting professionals, how they help and how they're critical to your success. And then after each one of these topics, Leanne and I are going to be happy to answer any questions you may have. So please feel free to start adding them to the Q&A section. And we look forward to, time permitting, answering the questions that you share during this webinar. So let's get started. So our first topic, why a cloud accounting system is key to effective business decisions. So we know as a business owner, you have many decisions to make regularly. But how will you have the information you need to make an effective decision? So we feel it starts with this comment from Peter Drucker. If you've been reading recently some books on management and business, you've likely come across this individual. He's a world-leading thinker in the world of business. And he has a quote that's very famous. It's, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And does that make sense? You really have to know clearly where you are now in your business, and you need to have the information at hand to be able to then see how you can improve it. And so we consider a four-step process. First, if you're going to measure something, you want to be able to do it effectively, efficiently. It would be helpful if some of this could be done automatically. So we suggest that you really need a system. A shoebox of papers, in our view, is not the most effective way to have complete information. So we suggest a system is needed if you're going to measure business information regularly. And then we suggest that to organize a system, One of the most effective ways to do that is by using technology, automation. So we suggest having a computerized accounting system that will automate much of the process for you. And it's at that point that you then have the information you need to now improve where you currently are in your business. So that's why we feel a cloud accounting system is important for you to make effective business decisions. Now, why cloud? You may have a system right now that's not in the cloud, but we're going to talk about 5 key reasons why the cloud makes sense. First, as you see here in this picture, you really want 24/7 access to your data. Whether you're on a desktop, laptop, mobile phone, business owners are in the mobile technology and economy right now, aren't they? So you want to be able to, whenever and wherever you are, access your data. So that's why we feel that a cloud accounting system is preferable over a desktop. Think of another reason. The data is up to date. In the past, you would take transactions and you would batch list them. You would take a number of receipts, a number of deposits, maybe monthly, and put them into your system. But a cloud accounting system allows you to do so much more. It allows you to keep your information right up to date, current. We often use the term real time. And if you're going to make real-time business decisions, you need real-time business information. So that's why we think the cloud is a key benefit when having an accounting system. A third benefit, years ago, if you wanted to have advice from your advisor, your professional advisor would actually have to travel to your office or your home, sit in front of the computer screen with you, and see the information in your system. But not with the cloud. With the cloud, you can be in one location, your business advisor can be in another location, and both of you can at the same time access your cloud accounting information, and in a virtual meeting on Zoom or over the phone, together see the information, have your professional advisor help you interpret the information in real time so that you can make effective decisions. So we think that's a key value of having a cloud system. Number 4, automatic processing. In the cloud, there are so many apps that connect with the cloud accounting software that can make so much of the cloud accounting system seamless, integrated. Things can happen automatically with cloud technology. So we think that's another benefit, saving you time and energy. And finally, security and maintenance. On a desktop system, you're often having to keep track of when is the next update, making sure you're on the current update to have all the security enhancements from the latest update, but not in the cloud system. In a cloud system, it's the software supplier that's responsible to keep their system up to date. And we think they do a better job, and it's best assigned to them than to take up your precious time and energy to maintain software upgrades throughout the year. So these are 5 key reasons why we think a cloud accounting system is helpful. 24/7 access, information is always up to date. It's easy to collaborate with a professional in the cloud. You can automate so much of the process, and you have the peace of mind knowing that your software has the latest security and features in the cloud. So that's a brief overview of the value of having a cloud accounting system. So now we're happy to take some questions. Is there anything you'd like to ask about a cloud accounting system in general, or something specific that you'd like some help on during our webinar?
So there's no questions as of right now, David. I'll just leave it a few minutes and let's see if anybody does pop in any questions. But just to kind of ask you a question for myself, what is the importance of measuring when doing that?
So that's a good question. We've talked about how a cloud accounting system can help measure. The key then becomes what should be measured. Sometimes they're called KPIs, key performance indicators. So really, the process starts with what are the key pieces of information that as a business owner, if you had them at your fingertips, you'd be able to be more effective in making your decisions. So sometimes it's revenue, sometimes it's profit based on product or service. Sometimes it's knowing what are the difference between variable and fixed costs, what costs that grow as you get larger, what costs remain the same, and how do they affect your bottom line? So we first sit down with a client and we'll ask them what makes their business tick. What are the key things they want to keep track of? And then we talk about how the accounting system can produce that data. So that's kind of the process we follow. Is there anything you'd like to add, Leanne?
No, I think that's exactly it. And then it ties all back into what's the ultimate goal, right? In order for us to be able to aim for whatever their goal is, we have to have that information.
Very good.
So it looks like we do have a question here from Frank. It says, with the system, do you still have to keep a copy on your computer or hard copy? So I think though, what we'll do is probably wait, because I know that Leanne is going to cover a little bit of this in the third portion of it. And maybe we can leave Frank's question till then, unless you guys wanted to answer it now. It's up to you.
No, that makes sense. Unless Leanne, you'd like to share something.
No, I'm good with leaving that, but I did notice that there was actually a comment in the chat. So just a reminder to put those in the questions so that Sandra can address them. But we've got a comment here about having heard that the cloud system is not secure for specific personal information. And I feel like we need to debunk that, because I know that the cloud systems are backed up and they have the security level that is required, considering the type of delicate information it's carrying. But I don't know, like, do you have something to say to that fear, David, that the cloud is not secure for all of that?
So we have investigated all of the cloud accounting software and apps that we recommend to clients. And what we're able to determine is that very often it's the very same level of security that your financial institution has. That's generally what the cloud accounting apps have. And most people, although nothing is perfect, most people realize that the level of security that a financial institution has, and sometimes it's even military grade security that's in place for some of these apps, is about as far as you can go. And we have not had any issues with any of our clients and their data. And there are excellent security and privacy policies in place with each one of these tech apps that we suggest. And so we don't see that as a concern currently with the technology as it exists. Okay, so thank you for your questions. Keep them coming. Even during our presentation, if you have a question, feel free to put it in the Q&A box, and time permitting, we'll look forward to dealing with them as our webinar continues. So let's talk about our next topic now. So we talked about how a cloud accounting system can help you with decisions. Now let's talk about how it helps you with challenges. So what are some challenges that a typical business owner has? Well, there's 5 that we selected. Notice one of them is having the right strategy. Do you know who you want to offer your product or service to? Do you know which products and services you should be offering? Do you know what type of workforce you're going to need? So a cloud accounting system can help you with the data to be able to make these decisions about your strategy. Prospects. How are you going to communicate effectively with prospects about your business? Why should a customer deal with you as opposed to someone else that claims to do the same thing that you do? So what's unique about what you offer? How can you create value for customers and communicate that value? So a cloud accounting system can help with that too. A third area, operations. How do you know if your operations are profitable? What makes up the profit formula? Can you grow? Can you expand with your current resources? That's something else that a cloud accounting system can help you understand and come to grips with. Right now, many people are thinking about having positive cash flows. So how can you ensure that you're able to manage positive cash flows in your business? And finally, customer service. How can you use your accounting system or your cloud system to be able to track the expectations and the responses from customers about how they feel about your service? There are systems you can put in place. So these are just 5 examples of how you can use a cloud accounting system to help you overcome business challenges. So we're going to take an example of one. Now, positive cash flows. So let's say that's your challenge. And one part of positive cash flows is the cash flows that you get from sales. So what could a cloud accounting system do? We notice these examples of information that could be measured. For example, your cloud accounting system can measure sales trends. What has your sales trend been over the last 12 months? Is it up? Is it down? Is it level? Is it stagnant? Your system can give you that information. Maybe you offer more than one product or service. Do you know which ones are the most profitable? Do you know which ones you should focus most of your time on? A cloud accounting system can give you that information. What about the average sale from a customer? Do you know what that is? It's helpful to have that information to predict future cash flows. What about the 4th question? Do you have a sufficient number of customers? Maybe your business, you work with a few large customers, or maybe it's a volume of a large number of small customers. But do you have enough? Do you know how much is enough? Your accounting system can give you that information. What about payments from your customers? It's one thing to make the sale, but then are you able to collect on the product or service you've made available? So is there some way for you to determine if your customers are paying you on a timely basis? Are you able to track this information efficiently, knowing whether your customers are following the credit terms that you negotiated at the start? So your accounting system can give that information to you. And then your accounting system can help you predict cash flows into the future for the next 3, 6, 12 months. If trends continue as they are now, without any changes, what will your expected cash flows be? And what changes could you make to improve that situation? These are just some examples of how cash flows can be improved, and that challenge can be dealt with the cloud accounting system. So that's just one example. And then there are apps that can help you with these 3 additional features. Receiving payments electronically, receiving deposits from your customers automatically. And then if you extend credit to your customers, and perhaps they're a little slow in meeting the terms of credit, how can you professionally provide automated reminders? All of this can be done by your cloud accounting system. So there are many things that your cloud accounting system can help you in the way of business challenges. So that's one example. Maybe there are others you're facing right now, or maybe there are some other areas of our topic that you'd like to ask a question on. So Leanne and I would be happy to take any questions you have on this part of our webinar. Any questions in our question box?
So there is no questions as of right now, David, but the transitioning from desktop to online, did you maybe want to expand a little bit more on that, or how easy it is maybe to transition?
Good question. So there are different options a small business owner has. One is to do your transition around year-end time. At the end of your current year-end cycle for your business is often an ideal time to make the transfer, particularly if it's not important to you to have historical information from previous years brought into your new cloud accounting system. It may be that just balances, opening balances, are what are needed in your new cloud accounting system. So it is not a complicated process once your year end has been completed to use those balances to set up a chart of accounts in the new cloud accounting system with the balances from the last year that have been finalized and give you an excellent starting position. Now, if you want to do a transition mid-year, it can be a little more complicated, but month-end balances can be used. If you're looking for something even more elaborate to have all historical data come in, that can be done, but it's more time consuming. Leanne, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I think you have it covered. I mean, there are a lot of processes. The most important thing is that we double check all the data after. So if you're gonna, transition, work with a professional who can make sure everything has come in and that you've got that fresh start with the correct numbers.
So we do have a question here. It says, do you forward the balances from last year to the new year, or is this, or is that what we do?
Leanne, would you like to make a first comment on that?
So if you're thinking of transitioning from like a desktop to a online, I would recommend that if you're thinking about entering balances that you work with a professional. I think that's what you're asking here, that you're looking at forwarding, just bringing in a simple balance start so that you have a nice, fresh, clean set of books. I would still work with a professional because you want to make sure it lines up on the proper accounts and lines in the new set of books.
Very good. And something I might add is that's an ideal time to take a look at your chart of accounts when you're setting up the balances for the cloud system. Often if you've set up the system yourself, it may be that you had not fully considered what key information you'd like to measure in your system, ideally. And so setting up the cloud accounting system allows you to set up additional accounts or change the order of accounts. So now that you're tracking everything that you'd like to know as far as business information to make decisions.
And David, which way, what is the best way, I guess, to sort through the chart of accounts?
So it starts with, I often use the comment, see the end from the beginning. So what that means is, what type of reports, what type of financial information would you like to get from your system? And then we work backwards. If that's the outcome, if that's the end result, then what is it that we would need to do at the front end when it comes to the name of accounts, the category of accounts to set up that will give you that information? Just to give you an example, And let's say you have two different products or services that you're offering. And maybe all of your revenue is going to one revenue account. And maybe all of the purchase costs for that product is going to another single account. Well, with that type of chart of accounts, you can't tell which product or service is the most profitable. You need separate revenue accounts. You need separate cost of goods sold accounts or purchase accounts, so that then in the accounting software, you could track by product what is the revenue and the costs associated with that revenue to see what is your most profitable activity in the business. So it's by having that discussion with clients, what type of product and services do you offer, then drives the discussion about the chart of accounts to set up and how to classify them.
Perfect. And it looks like we just have one follow-up. I did not mean that I do it, but the accountant that we use with you, David, looks after that. So that was kind of the follow-up to the, do you forward the balances from last year to the new year, or is that what we do?
Okay, so maybe to elaborate on that is, that's where, as Leanne mentioned, your accounting professional becomes involved. So if you have a professional bookkeeper, like Leanne, working with a chartered professional accountant such as myself, the two of us behind the scenes would take a look at your year-end final balances, and we would work together to make sure that that the appropriate accounts are set up in the chart of accounts with the appropriate balances. We'd make sure they were all accurate and correct. And of course, we'd have consultation with you as a business owner to make sure then that the reports you're getting are now going to give the information that you're looking for. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, if not, we can always, after the webinar, talk further about it.
Okay, and I think that looks like that's all the questions for this.
Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now we're looking forward to the third part of our webinar, the importance of having the right team. And now we're going to get into some key steps of how you can put into practice and implement what we've been talking about so far. So I'm going to pass the discussion over to Leanne. Leanne, can you help us discuss how the right team of accounting professionals can help?
Absolutely. Okay. So yeah, so we're going to talk about the right team and basically like the steps to getting set up and some of the choices that you're going to need to make as you're figuring out who is your right team. So my first point, we're going to look at the software itself. So when you're choosing a software, our personal preference is that we suggest QuickBooks Online. But there are other options. There's Sage and Xero are two of the major, I would say, competitors or, other main names in that online game. When you're choosing the software, you need to look at your unique needs because every software does have key differences. And you really want to get to know the company that's behind it. I do say that we prefer QuickBooks Online. Intuit's been around for years. The, predecessor to QuickBooks Online is QuickBooks Desktop, which a lot of people are familiar with. So there's that kind of historical relationship there where that's one that we're very, very comfortable with. And therefore we've decided to specialize in it. Regardless though, choose the software that's going to suit your needs. And then we're going to talk in a second about finding that person. There are some key differences to moving from a desktop to an online service. So do keep that in mind that they don't operate the same. So if somebody was using QuickBooks Desktop, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're automatically going to feel comfortable in QuickBooks Online. And that's where it's really important to match your accounting system with a professional who understands it. I often share that the online system, at least I feel QuickBooks Online, was built for the end user. A lot of what I will call the accounting, transactions are kind of hidden in the back end. And it's really meant for the small business owner to have a very fluid experience with the software. So with all these unique quirks and touches that this software has, do keep in mind that you want a professional who understands those. Once you have that, we're going to look at the receipt capture system. So this will play in part to how much of the bookkeeping you want to do. But imagine being able to leave a store, pull out your phone, snap a picture of that receipt, and it's done. It's captured. It's in a system so that you can either categorize the transaction in real time, or it's organized for when you sit down to do some entering later, or you've taken the picture and it's gone off to your accounting professional and they're going to take care of it for you, so you don't have to worry about it any longer. Really important to deal with that buildup of paperwork so that you don't have that going forward and into the future. The fourth step when you're using an online system is the ability to link your bank accounts. And this is really important that we keep separate business and personal accounts. So we really need to do this so that we are 100% sure that all the transactions that are on the bank statement are indeed business transactions. And this way we know we're not chasing after receipts that don't actually apply to the business. And then finally, as I said, you want to decide, the tool and the professional and how much of the process you're going to be responsible for. Do you want to snap that picture of that receipt and forget about it, to know that you don't have to take another step, that every other step in your accounting is being done by your accounting professional? Or do you want to be more hands-on? Do you want to have more control in the process? A live webinar, my cat decided to join us for a second there. Do you want to have more control in the process and do more entering of your day-to-day? Are you comfortable with reconciling your own accounts? Is that a piece that you want to have hands-on? And to be perfectly honest, a lot of times with a really small new business, I recommend that they have a better understanding of their books by having more day-to-day, hands-on experience with it. And then as they grow, that's something that most businesses want to pass off, because as you grow, you want to focus more in your business as opposed to doing that, admin work of bookkeeping. You want to leave that to someone else to do. All right, so quick recap. You choose the software. Again, we work with QuickBooks Online. We know it really well, but I never hesitate if somebody wants to use one of the other options to make sure that we're setting them up properly, even if that means working with another professional. And that's where, partnerships like what we have with David is really important. Match your accounting system with that professional who understands it. Assume a receipt capture system to organize your paperwork, link your bank accounts, and then learn how to use the tools, and then decide how much you want to take on and what your professional is going to help you with. So those are my points for getting set up and next steps. Questions?
So we have Frank's question, but before you kind of answer Frank's question, because there's a few things that kind of came to mind, Leanne, and I guess the first one, and this will kind of relate back to Frank's question, but when you, once you leave the, the hardware store and you've taken that picture, what do you then do with the receipt? Do you need to keep it? Can you get rid of it? What happens from there?
Yes, and that's a great question because I get that a lot from clients. The answer is we still need to keep those receipts. That's a CRA compliance requirement. The benefit because you're thinking, well, then where's the benefit of putting it in the cloud accounting system? The benefit is we don't need that traditional filing system where you had to be able to find those receipts, on a dime. So whether you keep, a box in your car so that they can safely go in there and they don't need to be sorted by month or anything specific, because our first go-to is going to be to go into the accounting system and pull out a digital copy if we need a copy of that receipt. However, as I mentioned, in order to stay compliant at this time, the CRA still requires those originals. David, do you have anything else to add to that with keeping original copies?
Yes, so we have seen CRA be a little more flexible recently, where they are satisfied with the electronic copy in the accounting system of some of our clients, where there has been a request for a review or a question. They are starting to be open to a digital copy. So, and the nice thing about it is for your own business information, having the digital copy there, you have peace of mind that you can always get access to that data quickly, easily, because it's permanently in your accounting system forever. And you'll always be able to go back and get that digital copy. And then, as Leanne says, you can have a box or a bag, or one type of storage system where you just track them if there ever was a need to get the original. But digital copies are starting to become more and more acceptable. And we hope that that will become universal in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
So Leanne, the other thing is I know that with some of the softwares like QuickBooks Online, you can do a receipt capture right in there. Is there any other apps that you may even recommend for business owners?
Absolutely. So there are a lot of really great apps on the market. QuickBooks, yes, you can capture the receipts within. And the benefit to that is that then when you sit down, all the receipts are already in the books. You still need to, do the rest of the entering, but the picture is there for you to guide you. That being said, we use Receipt Bank. That's what we use with all of our clients. It's a wonderful software. It's really easy for our clients. They can snap a picture, email into it, or upload directly onto, the website. Others that compare to that, there's HubDoc, as well as auto entry, right, Sandra?
Yeah.
That's the third one I'm looking for. I want to mix it up with another app that starts with auto, and it's in my head right now. But there are apps on the market today that will help you do that you can download on your phone and take the picture, as I mentioned, as you go. With Receipt Bank, I know we have clients who they can have multiple team members who have their own login, so that again, it doesn't matter which team member, it doesn't all fall to one person to get those receipts into the system. The receipts can go in real time, and then there's less having to pass and go through that chain of, moving the receipts up to the person who ultimately has to, take care of everything. This way, everything goes in all in real time.
Something I might add is we know of one client situation where this cloud accounting system will really be helpful, because they have staff in different locations in the province. And so what this will allow each staff member to do is have Receipt Bank, the app on their mobile phone, take a picture of the receipt wherever they are, send that information into their cloud accounting system, and it's all there. And they don't have to be shipping receipts to someone else who's going to take pictures or to track it. All of this can come in seamlessly with technology.
And one last thing, you had mentioned about adding bank feeds or linking the bank account. What would be some of the importance of doing so or benefits of doing that?
So when I link the bank accounts, it does depend on a little bit as to the level that you're going to work with your professional on. But a couple of the benefits, if I'm working with my clients who are taking care of their own bookkeeping, and I'm providing support on that, it's a bit of a checklist. We can double check that they have entered all of the entries that occur on their bank statement. As a professional, if I'm taking care of that on their behalf, it allows me to double check and see if they've missed sending me anything. And then from a reconciling perspective, depending on what level of software you have, some of the softwares actually pull in the bank statements. So I know, if whether you're a client or a professional, trying to make sure you've provided everything is one of those biggest challenges. And if the bank statements are already automatically coming to me, that's one less thing for you as my client to worry about. I can just go in and take care of everything and not have to worry about following up with you and asking for that.
And I might add that I know that from the client's perspective, they love the fact that with Receipt Bank and QuickBooks Online, those two pieces of software working together, once they've taken a picture of that receipt, there's no longer any headaches of wondering, has that been provided to my accounting professional? They know it's in the system, it's going to get looked after, and their job is done. It's such a relief to business owners not to have to try to put their finger on receipts come year-end time. Because with this system, Leanne, I'm sure you do it on a monthly basis for the clients that you're working with, and some even do it on a weekly basis to take those receipts, post the information into QBO, and then that business information is there for the business owner. So it's a tremendous scenario.
Yeah, absolutely, David. You're correct. And we process weekly. That way questions are being asked in real time. The other benefit to that is that if I can see something that is missing that I need a document for, and I can ask for it within a week of that transaction happening, there's a much greater chance that my clients can get their hands on it, because there's nothing worse than it being 3 months into the future and I'm asking for something and they can't remember where it went or why it didn't make it to me, right? So this is a great way to avoid that headache.
Very good.
So there is no any other questions. If anybody else did have one, maybe they can post it in there now, but that wraps it up.
So that's great. Well, we're glad we were able to answer all of the questions that you had. And so what can you do now? So we're going to talk briefly about some next steps. Thank you, Sandra, for fielding those questions for us. So following this webinar that Leanne and I have presented, there's different ways that you can help grow a more successful and profitable business. As we mentioned earlier, you're going to be getting an email with the link to download our ebook. It's going to go into greater detail than we could on this 60-minute webinar on the next steps to grow a more successful and profitable business. We suggest you download it and start reading, seeing what you can apply right away in your business. A second thing you can do is we're going to be opening up very soon a Facebook advice group where you and other like-minded business owners can collaborate along with us, and we'll be able to answer questions that you have periodically between webinars. You're going to be able to post a question, see if a fellow business owner has a similar scenario, what he's found helpful or she has found helpful, what we've learned from other business owners, and we can collaborate in the Facebook group. A third thing you can do is you can book a discovery call with us. So Leanne and I have an arrangement where if you'd like to know more about our webinar, you're going to get a link sent to you from our email, and then Leanne and I will work together to see different ways in which we can help you overcome the business challenges you're facing. We work collaboratively, as we mentioned, in a strategic partnership together. And then finally, it's our intention to have these webinars every month. So this was the kickoff webinar. Next month, we'll have another one, and so on. And we're also going to be sending you a survey And in the survey, it's going to give you the opportunity to suggest what would be a valuable topic you would like discussed. And we're going to take those suggestions, and Leanne and I are going to work together as we put together the content for our February webinar. So please be sure to take a couple of moments to fill in a brief survey to give us some feedback so that we can make our next webinar even more valuable for you. So that's it from us. Leanne and I want to thank you for joining us. And we really do mean what we say on this slide, that we wish you every success in your business journey. Leanne, is there something you'd like to add in conclusion?
No, absolutely, David. That's exactly how we feel and the purpose of these webinars. So we really hope that everyone took something away and will join us again for future ones. Thank you.
Take care for now. Bye, everybody.